It's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Peter Nagler. Peter Nagler was Chief Innovation Officer at Evonik and is now head of the International Innovation, still at Evonik. And he will continue speaking about managing the innovation, and more precisely, how leading innovation can increase the value, in fact, of the pipeline of products. Please, Peter.
Thank you very much for the kind introduction, and thank you very much to the organizers for giving me the opportunity to present to you. But before I enter into my presentation, I have to do a little test with you. I mean, you have lived almost 1.5 days in innovation, and so you probably have learned a lot, and I would like to do the IRL test with you. That is the innovation readiness level. And to do that, don't be afraid. It's basically very simple. Please give me your word to describe innovation. One word. Not all at once, please, one after the other. And basically, there is no wrong answer. So it's very easy.
Relevant.
Relevant. Yeah, very good. I like the Swarovski present. I like the tie. This is a...
Value?
Yeah, very good, yeah.
Survivor.
Survivor. Ah, that's a good one. Yeah, true. Yeah. I give you one of the best ones. All very good was sexy. No, also not so bad. Curiosity. Yeah. Okay. Differentiation. Oh, first understood frustration, but there's also okay. Yeah. Now, fantastic. You are all ready to listen to my presentation now. I'm still disappointed because there's one word I wanted to hear. That's Evonik, but never mind. It was not my invention, this question. I found it on the web. It was done by an Indian gentleman. And you see the 5 most important words which have been mentioned in a way you mention them all. But this is, first of all, not surprising. And it's what you all would have expected. What I liked about this question is actually this answer, that the true innovation can never be described in one word, because it's best described by the moment of silence created when all the people who said it will never work realize that they are dead wrong. And why am I bringing that? Because somehow you will see in my presentation, this is maybe a bit call it guiding philosophy when we within Evonik, or when I within Evonik was working on the topic of innovation. That is what guides us. You always be surprised. You say it doesn't work and somebody else doesn't know that it doesn't work and he does it. That's bad. So I won't tell too much about Evonik itself. I hope you have a first idea of what Evonik is doing. Yes, it's a specialty chemicals company, and just to give you the order of magnitude, we are a 13 billion euro company in 2015. It will not decline in 2016. We had a decent result of almost 2.5 billion EBITDA, which is an 80% margin, more than 33,000 employees. This might give you an idea of maybe the complexity I'm going to talk about when talking about innovation. And I think you're all aware that we are also the main shareholder, by the way, and main sponsor of Borussia Dortmund. 2-2 against Real is not that bad, unfortunately. I wasn't in the stadium. I'll be the next one. Anyhow, we are working on getting this nice little thing again. So this, in short, is about Evonik. What is innovation at Evonik? Now, you're all aware we do not do innovation for the sake of doing nice technologies or doing innovation. It has to contribute to our enterprise value. This will be probably true for everybody coming from industry. And so, as such, you would agree with me, it has to contribute to your growth, and it has to contribute to maintaining your competitive edge. So far, I think also no big surprise. What we also believe, however, that what we do in innovation, you have to tell people, you have to tell the outside world, you have to tell our customers, our partners, and talking to the value levers we have seen, talk to society. So we also believe that a certain company reputation about being innovative is very important. Now, I'm not saying that we make big stories and there's nothing behind. You will lose your reputation always faster than you can build it. So when we talk about reputation, it has to be substantiated by what we do. But we believe overall these can be growth levers for Evonik, and that's why we focus. And in the course of my presentation, you will see examples. And again, in the period of time I have, it can only be first examples, maybe for further discussions on how we want to achieve that. Now, talk about innovation. Yes, you need some resources. Innovation doesn't come for free. And you see here the development, our investment in innovation, R&D. In general, you see that we had a good increase from 2010, 100 million more per year. Today, leveraging at something about 3% of our sales. If you look on a diversified company like Evonik, we have businesses where there's practically no innovation, and others more to the pharma where there's maybe 12, 13% of sales. So I think 3%, and if you make the peer comparison, is not so bad. And we want to maintain that on that level. No? It's more than 2,500 employees, and again, showing a bit of the complexity, 35 sites globally. We are a decentral organization. This is what you have to take in consideration when talking about innovation. Now, spending is one thing. The question is how you spend it wisely. And to give you an idea, we do it in two, and maybe this is difficult to read from the back, I'm sorry, but you don't need to read every word. Basically, we do it in two ways. The majority, being a decentral organization, of our R&D spend is done in our businesses, so in close to customers, close to markets, typically short to midterm. What you typically would refer to as incremental. It's not only incremental, but typically. As a company, we have said, cannot be sufficient to guarantee our long-term survival. Yeah? And as such, many years ago, we have installed a unit, a strategic innovation unit. We call it CREAVIS, we've given it a name. Yeah? And this is roughly 10% of what we spend on the longer term, 5, 10 years plus type of innovation. Call it radical, call it transformational, but definitely things where we have no clue or hardly any clue, new markets, new technologies, or if you want to be very courageous, a combination in a market you don't know with a technology you don't know. But that typically takes you 20 years. It's not the only projects we are working on. Yeah? We wouldn't survive if we only did that. Yeah? So adding to that, I only want to mention it here, we have also founded a venture capital unit. It's not part of the R&D spending, it's separate, but somehow it leads in this consequence of being more, let me say, radical, transformational driven with startup companies. So that's how we spend it. Yeah? But that is, in a way, history. Yeah? That's what we do today. The question is, what is facing? What kind of challenges are we facing? Now, you all know that speed, globalization. We know, yes, ever faster innovation cycles. Although you see, I made a question mark here, you can debate that. Yes, in a way they're getting faster, but not always. Still, you have cycles of 5, 10 years or 15 years. Yeah, this happens. So I'm not saying that we are in the mobile things and we have to have a new product every 6 months. We would not be able to cope with that. We're still a technology-oriented company in that way. But nevertheless, there is a certain increase in speed, yes. And maybe it's also nourished by this one, globalization, because you're all aware that new innovation hubs are emerging, Asia. And these are all clever people. There are masses of people. They've got masses of money. And they are innovative as well, more and more. And this somehow adds maybe a bit to the speed because more solutions are coming out from our competitors or other research engines. And that is what you have to cope with. Also, maybe the basic technology might still be a longer innovation cycle. And the last point, risk and opportunities. What I say here, typically in organizations, you have to find ways to deal with innovation that takes longer than, now I'll be a bit rude, than the CEO is in power. Now we are fortunate, we have one for many years and he's going to stay, so nothing to complain here, but typically it goes through all the organizations. Yeah? At the end of the day, summing up, you know that the AVUCA world, accelerated volatility, complexity, ambiguity, uncertainty, that is what you have to deal with in a global, large organization. And the underlying question, how do you make an organization agile enough to cope with all these issues and to be innovative over a longer period of time, and constantly being innovative? That is the question we have asked ourselves. Now, as such, we have created what we call today the Leading Innovation Initiative. Why leading innovation? Now, first of all, we want to be leading in innovation. You see, we have created a vision. Evonik is one of the most innovative companies in the world. You read here, if you read carefully, it says companies. I did not say specialty company. I did not say chemical company. I said company. Yeah? So we want to compare ourselves with the best in the world. Now, might that be Apple? Typically, it's quite high on the list. We want to compare ourselves with Apple without producing iPads. Yeah? But in the ecosystem, how to innovate, that's where we want to compare ourselves with. Now, the second reason for leading to do that, you have to lead innovation. And just one example, how did we start that? We made an innovation conference within Evonik Global Innovation Conference where we invited 70, 80 of our top executives, starting with the board, the business unit heads, and all the executives had from business. There were 1 or 2 innovation managers. But it was not dominated by innovation. And we simply asked one question, not technology, not market, not customer. We asked, what can you do, dear leader, to make Evonik more innovative? That is what I understand by leading innovation, to be leading in innovation. Now, out of that came, of course, maybe a more classical approach, as you would say. However, for the first time in our company's history, we had clear and measurable innovation targets on a company level. You're all used to having EBITDA targets and sales targets and so on, margin targets. We never had a clear innovation target. Also, yeah, we have to make more through innovation. But how to measure it, and not measure it, of course, on a 12-month basis, which is basically impossible. You have to have longer-term innovation targets. That's what we have now. We do not publish them. You'll see one later, yeah. But we work with them internally, and they are measurable. They are, let me say, installed by the board. Yeah? So they are valid targets for the company. The second thing, sure, we have to talk about innovation strategy. No innovation without innovation strategy. By the way, no innovation strategy without business strategy, by the way, but I think that is also very clear. And in this we talk, and you're going to see some examples, of course, what you've also read here. Yes, it's about innovation portfolio management. I mentioned it, it's about disruptive innovation. What's the share? How should that be, and which topics? And yes, it's also about an innovation ecosphere, open innovation being the buzzword. Yeah? Once my CEO asked me, when you talked about open innovation, Peter, aren't we doing innovation, open innovation for long term? I said, yes, we are 150 years old, and already 150 years ago we worked together with universities. But still, today it's different, open innovation, yeah? And I think Hannes gave a good example of what it can mean. Yeah? So that's one point. And the most important point for us, this you might also, well, that's very clear and easy. The not so easy to grasp point is about innovation culture. And we want to lead our innovation culture. We want to improve our innovation culture. What I'm not going to elaborate, for example, out of this first conference, we have developed what we call guiding principles on innovation. They are not rules how you have to innovate, but we simply wrote down in 5 sentences how we want to understand the way we do innovation within Evonik. And there are some challenging formulations. In one, to give you an example, we said that our short-term results are on equal footing with our long-term results. Now you go to a business and tell them, hey guys, you have to do the same for a 10 years result than for your next year result. Sometimes this leads to interesting discussions. But in a way, that's what we want to achieve. We have to survive long-term. This is the Leading Innovation Initiative, again, a top-down driven approach. In different words, you all know that classically innovation management is about strategy, it's about organization culture, about processes. I will not bore you too much with processes. Some of the examples will more focus around here. But this is the rationale, of course, always behind. There's no rocket science, in a way. Goals. This is the first example. You see a couple of goals we have here. This is the one we published now, that and I know that other companies are doing it for a longer time. We want to have 16% of products sales younger than 5 years. We are far below, we are around 10, so we have to improve. We have been at 16, certain reasons why we're not there, but this is a goal we publish. However, we have also other goals. For example, we want to keep our R&D ratio to sales around 3%, as I said. That means that we have to invest more than 4 billion over the next 10 years. And maybe this one, we have defined growth fields, or you will see them later. And from them, we expect another 1 billion of turnover, let me say, in a little less than 10 years. Yeah? So clear, focused targets, where we want to go. Again, we have other internal targets, which this you can see at the end of the day, this is measuring the success. We have others that drive our pipeline, for example. We'll see an example. To do that, in a decentralized organization, you need somebody to take some more care of that, to measure that, to control in a way, to report to the board, to lead strategic discussions across the company. And that's why, of course, like many others, we do have a corporate innovation unit, and they focus on all these major topics like strategic innovation steering. Again, they're not telling the businesses, you have to invest here, because we don't know. It's their business, it's their responsibility. But on a strategic level, we do that. Yes, we talk about new practices, new methodologies, and we simply pilot them. And if they work, we tell the other guys, look, that works, you can try, or if they don't work, we try again. It's about this strategic growth fields, and again, a bit the innovation marketing aspect. And for that, that's the only organogram you're going to see. We have different departments here, starting from our Creavis to venture capital, and I don't want to bore with this. The more important thing is that there is a central kind of way of supporting the overall company's ability to innovate. Just one example of Creavis. Again, I said the strategic and long-term topics. How do we do that? Just simply, of course, there's also portfolio management in there and so on. They talk on different topics. There's strategic bucketing. It's a classical research unit, if you want, simply the key focus on the longer term. But we have established a couple of years ago something which we call project houses, which is, I tend to call it a joint venture between corporate innovation and our businesses, each paying half of the expenses. And then we focus for a given time, 3 years typically, with a given budget, around 5 million per annum, on a given topic. A very simplistic approach, if you want, but it works. It has been, we're dealing with our 12th now since 2000, and it always works. And it helps to establish new technology platforms or to globalize our innovation. We have started that in Taiwan and the US, for example. So it helps to expand the network and already adding the interest of businesses. Just one example, what can come out of this, we have worked on a topic of new polymers, composites, and we have been able to combine the advantages and eliminate disadvantages of thermoset and thermoplastic polymers by developing a new hybrid polymer system, which basically has a thermoset characteristic. You warm it up a little, and then you can mold it, and then you cool it down, and it's rigid again. So this is one new technology platform which has been created within the project house and then now is transferred to a business unit and they market it. Just one example. This is probably my most technological slide. I used to be a chemist, but today this is very difficult. But anyhow, strategic growth areas. We have 3 underlying megatrends which somehow guide the company's strategy, and that is, sure, health and nutrition. It's about having more resource-efficient solution, and it's the still ongoing globalization of businesses. And we have underlying what we call our core technologies. I'm not going to read them all to you about polymer design, catalytic biotechnology, and having these together. Of course, this is not a 24 hours discussion, and then you know it. This, of course, has been a discussion together with corporate strategy, corporate planning, and so on. What should be the major growth areas for Evonik? Where can we expect the best growth with our competencies and the ones we want to add? And these have come out, just to say, so it's about sustainable nutrition, healthcare solutions, smart materials, and so on. So this is the overriding goal. Does not mean that only these topics are allowed. Specifically, if you talk about Creavis, strategic innovation, wow, if we have a great idea which is here, we will still work on it. We'll look at it. But this is somehow you have to focus and you cannot do everything at once. So this was the main idea. Of Of course, it's related to our existing business, but it's a thorough analysis of where markets are going to and where we can expect the major growth. So this is when we said these have to deliver the majority of the growth we expect. Now, how do we do that? As I said, yes, we have certain competences, but we do not have all, and we definitely do not want to neither reinvent the wheel nor invent anything which has been invented already. So open innovation plays a key role for us as well. We've talked a lot about it. And in a way, you would see the ways to do that. What might be a bit different is what we have installed here. We call it industry cross innovation. What does that mean? And all when I'm saying we do that, there are people behind who are driving that. It's not just an idea, yes, we want to be open, anybody can come, and there's nobody there to answer. Yeah, there are people behind driving processes and ways of doing that throughout the company. Yeah? So this industry cross innovation means that we approach companies outside of the chemical arena. Yeah? Where at first sight you would say, why is a chemical company talking to this company? Yeah? Maybe we should talk more to Swarovski. So I don't know. Yeah? So these kind of approaches, and we do not go there and say, dear company, we've understood your problem, here's the Evonik solution. That would be easy. We do that as well, but that is not the approach. Here we say to the company, dear company, would you like to innovate together with us? Okay, it's a bit more structured than this blunt question, but that's the basic idea behind. And then you start to discuss, if this company is ready to discuss, what are we dreaming of? What are you dreaming of? What are our competences? What are your competences? And then you come up to surprising ideas, which none of us would have had alone. And we are working on a couple of projects. We would have never thought about, first of all, that the other company is working on that, and B, that we can join forces and try to develop something together. I think this has been a very powerful approach. We like it. It's working. And I think you would all agree that maybe the major steps in innovation are cross-boundary. Sure, we talk in the chemical industry as well, and there's a lot of innovation ongoing. But I think this can add a lot more. In that way, we also regard venturing. I had the pleasure to set up this organization, and when I at first thought that the investment is the major importance of doing venture capital, today I've completely changed my mind. Yes, sure, you have to invest, otherwise nobody wants to talk to you. But it's actually the innovation ecosphere you get to. The things you see, the things you are able to talk to and to talk about and take decisions on whether that is interesting or not. The information you get. Look, you can go out and say, Evonik, we have a brand new idea. Is there any startup working on that idea? Two basic answers, yes. Hundreds? Maybe you're not the first, or none. It's also not so good. Yeah, maybe the idea is really brilliant, or maybe not. Yeah. So these kind of discussion are always eye-opening and really challenge you. And the other thing, talking about leading innovation, it brings your business leaders in contact with other ways of doing business. And we all know we tend to be a bit larger organization. Maybe speed is not always at the highest level. To see how things can be done differently is also very enlightening. And I think it has also changed the way our top managers see how innovation has to run. It has not changed the complete culture of Evonik. No, but in some aspects, I think we see today that discussions are simply being different. Now, you see a bit of the history. We've done a couple of investments and don't want to go through that. Was that a bell for me? No? Well, okay. So it was so you didn't really hear, so I didn't really felt. Anyway, what we also do, so-called ideation jams, that is web-based idea creation, but we have combined it. This is also no rocket science anymore. We have combined it what we call an entrepreneurship program and an entrepreneurship award. Yeah, so basically out of a huge number of ideas, teams are being built up, go through boot camps, and at the end of the day you have a nice final presentation, a jury, and there's one winner, and he or she will get a year budgeted to follow her own business idea, which might be really outside of her day-to-day job. And she will get that liberty. And you can imagine if that is coming from a business, this person is out of operational day-to-day business, at least for 1 year. So you have to find a substitute. Yeah? It's easier said than done. Yeah? But that are the rules of the game. If people participate, they win. They are out of their day-to-day job. Yeah? So this is, and you should not underestimate the value of these kinds of prizes. We all have innovation prizes in a way. You should not underestimate the effect on people. Yeah? We also, again, another innovation prize. But if you see the reaction of people when they win, this is always a real pleasure because they really like it. They get the visibility. It's not about money. They also get some money, but this is not decisive. And this plays a tremendous role still today in innovation culture, I think. Now, innovation process. I told you I will not talk about innovation process. Of course, we have one. You have one, and StageGate, I think, is state of the art. Although Cooper is running around and changing it a bit to agile innovation, and I think he's right. What I want to point out here is two things. You have to differentiate, of course, the innovation management up here. You cannot do fuzzy front end with a rigid StageGate process. It will simply not work. We all tried, we all failed. So here we talk about, again, about culture, freedom of time. When I was running an R&D department, I said, look, guys, 10%, 15% of your time, you can do whatever you want. You don't even need to tell me what you do. And that means you can book your costs, your hours on an account, and that's it. I would love you to tell me what you do, especially when you failed. And then please come to me and tell me I tried, it didn't work. Maybe I know somebody else who was there the day before, it also failed, but you together can make it happen. It's a way of culture, yeah, accepting failure. It partially worked. Not to my satisfaction, because people typically, and that is again an issue also in management and leadership, are too much involved in their day-to-day business. To free them and to, like, hey, you had a brilliant idea, when you have that on Sundays. By the way, there was a statistics, the best ideas you have indeed Sundays when you walk around in the woods and in bad meetings. So please, if you had an idea during my presentation, I hope not. Anyway, so the other thing, okay, here that's very clear, and maybe one more remark, what we do, and we've talked about sustainability today in our portfolio management, especially for Creavis, because there we piloted. For us, selection of project also depends on let me say, societal factors, which is not that easy. We all know, okay, EBIT, that's easy. Economic return, also ecological, yeah, CO2 minimization, waste minimization, easy to measure, more or less easy to measure. But societal factors, and decide on a project based on societal factors, which means that we sacrifice profit to a societal factor, that's not always easy. Not to be misunderstood, all our projects have to make profit. We will not make loss to fulfill a societal factor. This is not sustainable. Yeah? But let me say, we wouldn't automatically choose the highest profitable project. It could be lower, but societal impact could be higher. That's what we do. And that is not always easy in project management. But this is something Creavis tried, and that more and more it's rolled out to the businesses. More or less last point about innovation marketing. You can ask, and typically I'm asked, how do you measure that you are one of the most innovative companies in the world? You might want to read a study of Boston Consulting. They will tell you how they did it. 20% is hard KPIs, sales growth, total shareholder return, whatsoever. Innovation budget, 80% is reputation. They make a peer comparison. Who do you think is the most innovative company in the world? And they say A, B, C, or D. They didn't mention us, by the way. That's why we are a bit, but anyhow. So that's why you have all these kind of measures. Yes, we measure it, yeah, how innovative we are. We compare ourselves with the best and see how they do it and try to understand what we can always improve. And at the end of the day, we'd like to tell people and get their feedback in a way, yes. Of course, the best measure for us is our customer tell us, yes, you provided a real innovative solution. At the end of the day, that's what we are working for. But again, talking about sustainability, talking about society is not only the customer. It's the world we live in. And that's what we... So there are a lot of publications. I will not go into that. But however, we have made a study and asked a very broad community, do you think, or how innovative you rate Evonik? And this is, you see the result. Fortunately, 2/3 said we are innovative. some don't know, and a minority, and we will find out who it was, said that we are not innovative at all now. However, we also asked a specific question: do you think our vision is achievable? And almost half said yes, more or less, it is achievable. So we asked internal, external, and this is about the ratio we got. So this was the wrong button. So coming to the end, what we really want to achieve is we want to lead innovation, but we want to make ourselves measurable. Yeah? And so we talk about innovation KPIs, we talk about the excellent, we talk about reputation, and to give you one more figure, we said how to increase the innovation pipeline, did all of that, which we didn't start yet 2 weeks ago, but maybe 3-4 years ago. Did it have an effect? Yes, just by last year to this year, no, 2014, 2015, we increased our innovation pipeline by 500 million euros. This is a visible increase. Now, whether all of that will turn into profit, we will see. It's still projects. Yeah? But anyway, we've seen a steep increase here. And summing it up, yes, you know, yes, innovation is important. We have to increase enterprise value. We have a decentralized R&D approach, always important to mention. We have defined visions, challenges. We see leading innovation. Maybe that is the key message of today. It's about leading innovation, top management, started from the top, our CEO, who is responsible to make our company more innovative. I've talked about a bit open innovation, and that you somehow need a kind of central organization, however you structure it, to support the overall company-wide and global process at the end of the day. And maybe finishing with Victor Hugo. One of our corporate values is courage to innovate. So we go for the last point, for the courageous, it means opportunity. And I hope that came across, that we believe in it. There is something in for innovation. As such, thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Peter, for this talk. We have time for 1 or 2 questions, please.
AJ Popper from McBride. I think just listening to the previous presentation from Aslan and your presentation, it seems like the hybrid is the way to go for innovation. Is that true?
The hybrid is going?
Combining 2 technologies to make new products.
That depends. In this case, it was very valuable, but at the end of the day, what you try to do with new products, you want to, if I say at a product level, we talk about products, but we typically also talk about solutions. So more and more you come to system approaches. We want to understand systems, yeah, applications, and also for that we need partners, because we not always do understand the whole value chain. We have to identify where's the best position of Evonik. So it can be a product. Sure, at the end of the day, we have a lot of things which are in a bag or in a drum, which we sell. But it's part typically of a bigger system and a solution we want to provide. So you always want to be better in that. And that's why you have to eliminate deficiencies or respond to customer needs for improving something. Well, and I think the Ashland approach and many others, you have something good here, something good here. If you combine it, it makes both things better. It looks like an easy approach. It simply took us a couple of years. But anyway.
Raul Piers from Covestro. I have a question on your cross-industry partnership or collaboration that you mentioned. Is there a structured or methodic approach? How do you find these people? They don't know you and you don't know them, so how do you do it?
Yes, that is a very good question. That's why we've installed people to do that, and we have developed a methodology, and there are some criteria according to which we would approach a company. First of all, such a company has to have a certain size. Yeah, it has to be innovative, so it has to invest in innovation. Let me say these are key criteria, and then somehow we also try to make a first understanding where they are going to, and if there is a potential overlap with Evonik. So it's not cold calls. We pick up the phone, go through a telephone list. Oh, today we are at B, and so we call BSF. Oh, that wouldn't be cross-industry. But anyway, and then we're asking, would you like to innovate? There is a structured approach, and then you have to find the right people in the other company. If you don't have contact at all to that company, that is very difficult, but it's a tedious process, and then you gradually come together. So it's nothing you do in a week. Typically it takes a couple of months, but then they're dedicated. The most important thing which we have found, there must be at least one person on each side, a caretaker of company we talk to, and a caretaker of that company for Evonik, and these two have to manage throughout their organization the projects we work on. Because at the end of the day, we talk again about project management. It's again the fuzzy front end, we talk about here, then it's structured down, and then now today we work on this project, and then it's going, of course, to the operational departments, there where the competence is, they have to link in. So internally, you also have the challenge to convince people, look, we found this company, the interesting technology, forget about your day-to-day job, forget about your customer, go to work with him.
So we found means you have a kind of scouting department.
I wouldn't call it, we also have that. We have technology scouts around the world. There would be a part of that would also be that they come up in their region. For example, we have in China, Japan, and so on, Singapore. They come, look, I found this company. I've read they work on this. Didn't we want to ask that question? That is one element. But there's a dedicated group who sums all of that and manages this process. It can come from anybody. Anybody of our salespeople can say, look, I've heard this interesting company, feed in. But then you start a structured process. And again, you cannot do that with hundreds of companies.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much again for the talk.